Earthquake off the Russian coast has triggered a tsunami warning across the Pacific. The chaos as the 8.8 magnitude temblor first struck off Russia's remote Far East was captured here on camera. Medics in the middle of a surgery did their best to continue working as the surgical suite continued to shake. Furniture could be seen shaking in an office building as workers moved to evacuate. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, tsunami waves reached the U.S. West Coast following one of the strongest quakes ever recorded. NBC's Molly Hunter has more from London.
That's right, 8.8 magnitude. That is an incredibly powerful earthquake, according to the USGS, the sixth most powerful ever recorded. And after an earthquake of that scale hits, lots of aftershocks, including one measuring 6.9, which on its own is also a very strong earthquake. The Kamchatka Peninsula is in Russia's Far East. It is pretty remote, pretty sparsely populated. And so the big picture, good news, no reports of deaths at this time and no reports of major damage. We do have video that we're going to show you of waves washing ashore, of flooding on those coastal areas. You see those low-lying buildings being washed away. You see trucks being hit, even doctors continuing to operate in a hospital. But it triggered tsunami warnings for millions across the Pacific. And actually, we're watching French Polynesia very closely this morning. The Marquesa Islands have said they're expecting 13-foot waves imminently. But in Japan, about 2 million people were under evacuation orders this morning. The prime minister said waves were measuring more than 4 feet. Have come ashore, no substantial damage. There have been travel interruptions, though, traffic jams, train delays. Of course, watching the west coast, Pacific coast of the U.S. from California to Hawaii, there are tsunami warnings in place. In California, waves measuring 1.6 feet above tidal level were measured. In Hawaii, the evacuation order has now been lifted. It is safe to return home, according to the governor. The Emergency Management Agency said there were no reports of major damage. And the good news in Hawaii, flights have restarted out of Honolulu. The commercial port is back up and running. But experts say really in these low-lying coastal areas across the Pacific, in the South Pacific, of course, in Hawaii, that waves can still come ashore in the next 36 hours. Molly Hunter, NBC News, London.
All right, we'll take a look at this. Maui tourists and locals slept in their cars overnight after evacuating to higher ground. This was the scene on Maui at sunset Tuesday. Parts of Hawaii under a tsunami advisory this morning after that powerful earthquake in Russia. People had their eyes towards the water looking for those tsunami waves. Again, no major injuries or anything to report.